Hello guys and welcome to episode number 205 of the Next Gen Basecast. I am your host Ben, as always, and I'm joined by Mr. Gary Clark. Are you well, my friend?
I'm all good. Just tired. I think we all are.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm good. Apart from that, yeah, all good.
Yeah, I think that the title for this one might just be "Everybody is Very Sleepy," because I think we're all feeling it. And I am also joined by Mr. Aaron Sullivan. Are you well?
I'm good, sir. Pleasure to be here as always.
Indeed.
Let's do this.
Yeah, and we were just saying off air, very sleepy as well, but we are, we're all good. So we'll start as ever. What we've been playing. I think it's been an interesting week for a couple of people. I think there's some new subscriptions that have taken place, which means that a lot more games have been available. But I'll start with Aaron. What have you been playing this week, or this past 2 weeks?
So this week's been a slow week for me because of life.
Yeah,
trying to find a new apartment and stuff. But I touched on a bit still more Hitman. I've been spending hours in Paris.
Yep.
One of your favorite levels. There's so many ways to do that damn level. It's just I've probably spent about 4 hours in there. But I haven't had much time to play anything else. I did, however, I'm sure we'll talk about upgrade. I know I said I wouldn't. But I did actually upgrade to premium on the new PS Plus, just to see what it was. Just because they made it so easy. It was kind of like, here's what you've got, and here's what you need to add to it to be on premium. And I was like, all right, I might as well give it a go for a year. I downloaded a few titles. There was a tennis title I downloaded. I can't remember what it's called, and I downloaded Assassin's Creed, the latest one. But I haven't had time to play them. And then I was looking at the ridiculous list.
Yeah.
Of old PS1, PS2 titles, and I was like, oh, good lord. So then I spent 30 minutes moving a bunch of my PS5 games over to a hard drive so I could actually make space for the plethora of games that are available.
Yeah.
But other than that's about it.
Fair enough. It's we will obviously come on to the PS Plus tiers shortly. But Gary, have you been playing much more this week, or?
Very similar to Aaron. It's been a quiet one, to be honest. I've sort of dabbled here and there on a bit of NBA again. I actually played. I didn't think it would be my kind of game, but I played it with my nephews, Fall Guys. That it is what it is, basically. But I had a lot of fun playing it. It's stupid. It's just a bit of fun. It's not the sort of game you'd spend hours on. Well, I personally wouldn't, but played that for about an hour and a half. Yeah, it was free, so I've downloaded it for them, and I think I was having more fun than they were on it, to be honest. So yeah, I played that. I've downloaded TMNT, but I haven't actually played it yet. Okay. Obviously, that's on Game Pass. I've heard incredible things about it, so hopefully next time we did a podcast, I would have played it by that point. But at the moment, that's really about it. I can't think of anything else.
It looks gorgeous though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks incredible.
It's on a list, but I want to play it with people. I don't want to play it on my own. Like the multiplayer part of it looks so fun.
We should get a party on the go. It'd be a good laugh.
Yeah, I'd be up for that. Yeah, but yeah, I don't believe there's anything else. I've had a bit of a lull in sort of gaming at the moment. There's nothing that really sort of makes me really want to play it, so yeah, I'm sure that'll come back soon once I start playing TMNT. So
cool. Yeah, I mean, I downloaded TMNT. Shredder's Revenge, gave that a little bit of a whirl. Got through the first couple of levels on it, and that is a fun video game. Very, very sort of pick up and play. You can jump in, jump out whenever you want, and it's got that. As Aaron says, it looks phenomenal, and you've got that real old school feel to it, sort of cribbing off the old arcade game, which I loved back in the day. But yeah, this is just a fantastic little iteration on the stuff there. So yeah, I need to get on that a little bit more. I also played a little bit more Jedi Fallen Order.
Nice.
I keep sort of chipping away at that rather than just barreling through it at the moment. And then other than that, We've had a couple of weekends away in London over the past 2 weeks. So like basically a lot of my gaming time has been taken up traveling and seeing things in London. So I've not been doing too much, but we did get access to the premium PS Plus tier. Sony very kindly provided my account with an upgrade for that, which I didn't realize it would go live at midnight on the 23rd, was it? Yeah, the 23rd. So that was the last Thursday, wasn't it? Yeah. Didn't realize it'd go live on that at midnight. So I kind of saw somebody on Twitter saying, "Oh yeah, cool! I've just got just subscribed to PS Plus. Let's see what this is all about." And I sort of went, yeah, I'm gonna have to do this now, aren't I? So I jumped on my PS5, like started screen capturing, and basically got a huge amount of video content recorded, and eventually got to sleep at about 3:00 getting it all done. But yeah, there's some really good titles on there, on the premium and the extra tier. I think for most people, I think extra is probably the right one. But I mean, yeah, I picked up some of my favorite titles from the PS4 era. I've noticed are on there, like Abzu's on there, Resogun's on there, Res Infinite is on there, Valiant Hearts is on there, and like loads of absolute quality. So alongside obviously the blockbusters, you've got like as you said, you've got Assassin's Creed, you've got Spider-Man, you've got I think Red Dead 2 is on there. I think you've got obviously Returnal, Death Stranding, like all of the kind of big Sony games are on there after a little while. So yeah, I mean we might as well move in, because I think that's really it. I mean I did download and start playing there's 2 games. There was one game that was an Xbox demo, I think, that I got a little bit into last year, which is Connect Tank, which is a very strange little kind of like a color matching game, but you're in this like big anime tank that moves across this field. It's like a delivery game, but you have to blow stuff up along the way. It's very cutesy, very very cartoony, but you can sort of sink quite a bit of time into it. It's just that little bit of fun, nothing too engrossing. But I remember playing it on the Xbox demo last year and thought, yeah, sod it, I'll give that a go when it comes out. And yeah, Dangerous Golf as well. I missed that when it came out initially, and I was always a big fan of Burnout's crash modes. So you can sort of imagine how that is, because it's Three Fields Entertainment, which is former Burnout, former Criterion Studio members, and they've done that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there, and like I said, we might as well move straight into it as part of the first story that we've got here for the news. I think I read somewhere that Sony actually exceeded their target of 700 games available for the premium tier, which obviously covers the downloadable games, the PS Plus collection, and then the classics, which I think the PS3 ones are all streaming, but like basically all of it was encompassed there. And yeah, sort of over 700 games. Seems a little bit mad. Did you subscribe, Gary?
I haven't yet. I will do. 100% I will do, because I want to try it out and see what it's like. But I had a quick sort of look on the store to see how what it looked like. There's a lot on it, and obviously there's going to be new stuff added all the time. It's a weird one for me, because there's a lot there on offer, but I'm not sure it's enough for me to sort of say right now I need to do it, if that makes sense. Obviously, one of my sort of most anticipated games this year is Stray, which is included within the sort of higher end tiers, I believe. So yeah, I believe that comes out next month, so that's probably going to be a good time to jump in. There's one thing I will say though: the naming they've used is awful. Why didn't they go with like the like the trophy sort of way of doing it, bronze, silver, gold, that sort of thing, or even add platinum. It just the names essential, extra, premium. I didn't like that, and I didn't really like the way it was laid out on the store. It seemed a bit sort of, I don't know, a bit sort of crowded. Like it, for us being sort of avid, sort of hardcore gamers, if you want to call it that, it's fine. But for the sort of more casual, I can imagine people getting confused with what each one offers. But I'm sort of nitpicking at this point. But regarding what's on offer, I think it's a good service. I think, if they keep on adding to it and giving more, then I think it can be a success like Game Pass. Although it's very different to Game Pass, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I'll segue over to Aaron then, because obviously we know that myself and Aaron both have access to the premium tier. I mean, what was the upgrade path like for you? I mean, you said they made it very easy. Was it literally a case of hit a button and spend some money?
Pretty much. I literally wasn't going to do it, and I was like under each. So it presents to you obviously the premium, the extra, and then your standard. And then it literally under it's got a button that says you can add this amount and have this tier. And I was going to go with extra, and I was like, well, I might as well just add the extra £10 because it's just going to upgrade my current subscription. So it felt like less, even though I was actually just paying for the subscription.
Yeah,
that kind of system. So I ended up just doing it. As I said, unfortunately, I haven't been able to absorb all the games that are currently there just because I haven't had much time. But I completely agree with you that for most people, extra is probably as far as you really need to go, unless you really, really want those PS1 titles. And it's kind of a double whammy. Like for me, like if you're like me and like the PS4 era kind of went over your head just because of life, because you're at that particular age, like you can now come back and just binge on those fucking titles, which is amazing. And also, if you also recently bought a PS5 and you missed all the launch titles, I mean, there's a bunch of them there now, which is great. You don't have to pay what were we paying, like 60 to 70
60, 70 quid.
You know, so that's great.
Yeah, I mean, like I'd agree with you on that. I think it's very interesting to see kind of I mean, Gary, you said obviously it's a very different service to Game Pass. And I think, excuse me, I think the way that this has come about for Sony is kind of, it's almost kind of putting that line on it and saying, right, we know what the competition offers. We're not going to do that. We're going to do our own thing. Oh, by the way, here's something that's very similar, but at the same time quite different. And I think, it is early days at the moment for the new PS Plus tiers. We're going to see a lot more happening down the line. I mean, I think there was somebody saying that there's a game, was it Shadow Warrior 3, I think, is already due to leave the service shortly, presumably due to a clause in a contract signed when it was like on PS Now, as it was. But there's obviously going to be some movement in the games that are there and that aren't there. I think there is some work to do on the discoverability, and particularly things like the games that are going to be going. I did notice there is a section that says last chance to play, which gives you dates of when games are going to sort of leave the service, which is good. But I think kind of the one thing I will say in terms of the sorting, how the fuck is it sorted by default? Like you go into that list of games and it says like, sort by default, and then I think the first game is Spider-Man, the second game is Assassin's Creed, and then after that it's just a random assortment of games. Like there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason as to why the games are put in the spots that they are. So I think there's a lot that they could probably do with the discoverability for sure. And yeah, it's just it's one of those. I think it's one of those where it's a very good selection of games, but they could potentially do with jazzing up the UI a little bit and maybe adding some more categories and stuff like that. I mean, Gary, did you say you've looked through the list of games and stuff, or?
Yeah. So yeah, I just sort of went on the store. Obviously, I've been looking online as well, seeing what's on there. I think the way they presented it on the store is a bit it's a bit congested. It's a bit sort of in your face. There's just like there's so much going on, and I think they could have streamlined that a bit better. One weird thing I noticed as well, it sort of makes sense when you think about it, but the Spider-Man game that is on there is the PS4 version, because obviously the PS5 version is exclusive to like the remaster or whatever they called it. Like, what did they call it? Is it the something collection?
I think it's just like Spider-Man remastered.
Yeah. So you get Miles Morales PS5, but you only get the PS4 version of Spider-Man because it's exclusive still to the remaster, which I found interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like a good service. I'm definitely going to sign up, like I say. There's a ton on there, but it's not really a sort of moan about it as such, because I say the same thing about Game Pass. The trouble I find with these services is there's 10 good games for every 50.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
it's just a lot of filler.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of perspective, right? So like, I'm sure like someone like Andy would find a lot of the stuff that you're calling filler stuff he wants to play. So it just depends on what you enjoy.
Yeah, but surely come on, think about it. There's not going to be some person out there who likes every single game on that service.
No, of course not. But that's
what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's always the downfall of this type of thing.
Yeah.
I do have one pet peeve, but I don't think it's not specific to the new tiers. It's more to the old tiers. And you correct me if I'm wrong, but on the PS4 there was an easy way to figure out what things you had downloaded from your free monthly games. On the PS5, you have to go through to your account and then go to your subscription and then look through all the things that were purchased. I don't know if that's just me or
I think
it seems really badly done.
I think there is an easy way to do it. I haven't excuse me, I haven't checked in terms of the new tiers, but like I know if you go into on the PS5, you go to I think if you go to library, there's an option somewhere where it's like, PS Plus games that you've added to the library, and it just gives you a list of like all of the PS Plus games that you've added, even if they're not downloaded.
Because that's the way they did it on PS4.
I'm fairly sure. I'm fairly sure that's the case.
Okay.
I will confirm at some point. I'll probably just drop you a text and say, yeah, you go here and here. But I definitely seem to remember that being a thing on the PS5, because I looked at it and I was like, I know what you mean, because in the PS4 you went to the library, and then like games that I think that was segmented to like games that have been downloaded, games that haven't been downloaded, and you could just pick from there. But yeah, no, I think for most people, PS Plus Extra is going to be the one to go for. I'm not a fan. I do like the service, but I am not a fan of gating timed trials of games behind this premium tier.
Yeah, that's a bit silly.
That's bullshit. Yeah,
I think that should be a maybe not necessarily a free for everybody experience. I mean, in an ideal world, yes, if you want to try out a game, like you should be able to download a demo of it. And then I think, what is it, like a 2-hour trial? I think of each game, or some of them are going to be dependent on what game they are. But I think gating off a 2-hour trial of a game for people that are paying the top dollar is probably a bit. It's a bit
counterintuitive as well, because surely you would want as many people as possible to have the option to try something before they dive in.
Absolutely. And I think the fact that you've got like Horizon Forbidden West in there, you have, I think, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is another one. You've got I want to say, like, I remember seeing like Lego City Undercover, I think, is another one. it seems to be a strange selection of games. But again, if you want people to play Horizon Forbidden West, would you give them a 2-hour trial? Like, would you give everybody a 2-hour trial of it? Or would you give the 2-hour trial to the people that are probably a little bit more budget conscious and, you know, will probably just be waiting for that game to hit PS Plus Premium anyway? Like, I imagine that will probably be on Premium within like 6 to 9 months, probably. So yeah, that's the, you know, I don't necessarily agree with that, and I think that the retro stuff, or the classics collection as it's called, is I think that can be a little bit hit and miss. I did try some of the streaming stuff, which I've done very little streaming with PS Now before, but I was actually quite impressed. It felt nice and responsive. I went with I went to play some Pixel Junk Racers because I know that was quite a twitchy game, and you know, I've got decent internet here, and I was suitably impressed with it. It was you know, the resolution wasn't quite there because we're obviously used to 1080p 4K of you know, today as opposed to the 720p maximum on the PS3. But yeah, like it felt good, and then jumped into God of War Ascension a little bit, and that was again a little bit blurry compared to what we're used to now, but it felt all right. And then obviously the slight disappointment of the PAL versions of some of the PS1 games, which Sony kind of came out and said, look, we will be putting up the NTSC versions down the line, so you will get smoother frame rates in your old games. But I think, you know, didn't have any of the issues that we heard about when we you know, when it launched in Asia or in the US. I think that the main controversy has been the PAL versions of the old games, which you know, they've kind of come out and addressed fairly quickly. So yeah, I think it's probably a successful launch for the new PS Plus tiers, and I think long may that continue, because I think the more services we have, the better, to be honest. And yeah, go on, Gary.
Yes, no, I was just going to say it's a solid start. I think they've not exactly knocked out of the park, but they haven't done a bad job. It's just a solid start, and obviously if they keep evolving it, it's going to get better over time.
You reckon their trial? You reckon the trial thing was inspired by EA Play, because they do their, but it's not the top tier, is it? It's just the normal play. Yeah, and but on top of that, you get 10 hours with them. So it's like, you know, you saw it, copied it, and then said, "Nah, that's too much. Let's bring it back." And
yeah, strange one that.
Yeah,
but I'm with you guys. I think they need to just they need to develop the premium side of it. Hopefully, they give you more value in the long run, and more people sign up. You know?
I mean, I don't think they'll ever. You know, I think they've been fairly clear. I don't think we're ever going to get day and date releases of the big titles with premium, at least until there is a big rethink, or you know, they see after this initial kind of grace period, you know, they see a huge subscriber drop off. I would probably expect first party games to come to the service after maybe a year. You know, I don't know, because what have we had on there so far? We've had is Ratchet and Clank on there? I can't remember.
Don't think so, is it?
I don't think it is. I don't remember seeing it, but you've got.
I'm sure I see an article somewhere saying that it's rumored to be coming on there. But
I've got the list of games right in front of me, so I should be able to see this. No, it's not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, that is one to sort of, you know, hold out for, but I think when you've got the likes of, like I said, Returnal, you've got Miles Morales, you've got Ghost of Tsushima, you've got Death Stranding, and those other big games, I think when we start to see maybe, like a year after launch, a first party game is on there, then maybe you get sort of that, you get that expectation, I guess. So we'll have to see. But yeah, as we've said, solid start for it, and hopefully it starts to get a bit better. So, next story, one that I've kind of put in here specifically to target Aaron, if I'm honest, is that Sony are launching a range of PC peripherals that are also compatible with the PS5. So I think it's called InZone, which is their, the new brand name, which, fair enough, it's a name. But then they've got they've got a couple of monitors, they've got a few gaming headsets, and they're kind of semi-themed around a PS5 design. And Aaron, as our resident our resident PC user, do these kind of price points for things like monitors and headsets, do they appeal to you?
Depends on the quality of them, doesn't it? Like, I can't really just say, these appeal straight off. The problem is that whole space is so crammed full. Like, there's so many people like Sennheiser, and you've got all the other guys that are all throwing some quality and some not so much quality products at everybody. So to come in now with this it's kind of weird. So you either have to have something that's super quality for a cheaper price, or it needs to be dirt cheap so everybody can get access to. And with all the options, I'm not sure. It looks like they've kind of, as you said, they've kind of themed it like around the PS5. I mean, as a PC player, as most of the master race, they don't really want PS5 themed things. It's just a weird branding issue that's going on there. I'm not sure what they're going for.
Yeah, I mean,
those headsets are hideous as well. They are hideous.
I mean, you're looking at. I currently only have US pricing, I believe, on the headsets, but the headsets go from, I think the cheapest one is $99, which is the wired one, and then there's two wireless ones. Going up to $299. So the H9 is it's got noise cancelling. It's basically got 3D audio, and I think it said 32 hours of battery life. The mid-range one is 40 hours of battery life, and then the cheaper one is wired. But I think this is a strange play from Sony. I think the like you say, the market is so full of very, very good monitors and very, very good headsets for not a lot of money. This almost feels a little bit like them coming in and swinging their dicks around and just going, "Hey, yeah, we make cool stuff. Go buy it." And I don't know whether people will.
I think it's the whole, because obviously PlayStation games are now going on PC, so I think they're thinking, so we're putting our games on there, let's try and sell our peripherals and accessories and whatnot.
It's such a console way of going about things. Like the only real people who can get away with this outside of consoles is Apple. Like this idea of, I'm going to sell you this ecosystem. I'm like, but we've already had freedom for so long in the PC space. Nobody themes there, like, I'm going to get everything Asus. Like, that's not the way you go about it. You get the best quality product for the thing that you're trying to buy. And so trying to theme it all together, it just seems weird to me. I mean, I've got some Sony, like just normal Sony headphones. The noise cancelling is great, but do I want noise cancelling for gaming? That's not something I don't know. Maybe other people have like screaming kids in the background or something that they want to cut out or something. But just in general, I'm like, that's not generally a feature I think gamers particularly want. Noise cancelling is usually something you have when you go out in the wilderness and you want to cut out the outside world. It's weird marketing things. I don't know. It's and I don't really have much to say on the monitor because I haven't actually looked at the monitor scene. But yeah, I do know that. Go on. Sorry.
I'd say that the monitor just looks weird. It almost looks like it's got a little PS5 stood in the middle of it, pointing down.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Very, very strange design. But, yeah, go on. Sorry, carry
on. Yeah, but I do know that the technologies in monitors are going through the roof. Like, so if we're talking about just like PC monitors and the new panels that are coming out. So unless you're bringing out something top of the range and doing it for less than the opposition, you're going to find it very hard to beat the name brand market mind share of all these other brands. And so
I mean,
it
like,
just depends on the quality.
I'm absolutely behind you on that. I mean, I think the way that the monitor space is going at the minute, like the big leap forward in a lot of the tech is moving towards like QD OLED. And I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but I know Alienware have a certain reputation in terms of PC hardware. That, you know, a lot of people think it's very overpriced for what it is, but they've got a monitor out at the moment, which I think is the 32-inch, like ultra wide. It's a QD OLED monitor, and oh my god, that monitor is fucking beautiful. If you know, you look at it, and I think people who have used an OLED display, like I know I find it difficult to go back to other TVs or other displays afterwards. And the more I see that monitor, the more I want one, but I'm not prepared to spend £1,000 on it. So, you know, hopefully as that tech gets used in more and more monitors and more displays, I think that price is eventually going to come down. At least I hope it does, for my sake. And then my current monitor might have a slight accident. But yeah, I mean,
that name though, InZone. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, you know, like in Toys R Us, they used to have like certain sections for like younger kids. It sounds like something from that, or like Laser Quest or something from the 90s. It's just like, Sony. As much as I respect Sony as a company, they are one of the worst companies in the world for naming. Like some of their headphone like names and their mobile phone names are just dreadful. So I don't know who is like the boss of like the naming side of Sony. Yeah, I mean, do better, because that's a terrible name.
Maybe it's a Japanese company thing. Maybe they think it's cool.
yeah, maybe.
I mean, some of them, you know, some of the companies don't necessarily do it too much better. You know, we're looking at the Xbox Series X, the Xbox One X, and
that's true.
But yeah, I just think it might be a thing in games in general, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I said initially the monitors look a little bit snazzy, but obviously we need to see some real world testing in them. It just looks strange with that little mini PS5 bang in the middle of it. But yeah, I think the next bit of news for the weekend, I say it's been a relatively quiet one, because you've had that rush of news for Summer Games Fest, and then that's gone away, and it's just left this big void of stuff where like smaller stories are getting a bit more headline. But yeah, there was a Nintendo Direct this week focusing on third parties, and some very interesting stuff to come out of that, which I mean, we'll touch on a couple of them here, but the first one is that Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope is getting a release date on October the 20th. So we will also have a new gameplay. What's the word I'm looking for? Gameplay showcase, I think. I believe that may have been today as we're recording, actually. So I'll get checked up on that one. But yeah, Mario Rabbids 2 out in October. I think Gary, am I right in thinking you played the first one?
A very small piece of it. I enjoyed what I did play, but the trouble is, at the time I sort of started playing it and then moved on to something else and then never went back. But from what they showed of this at the mini direct, it looks like more of the same. It looks fun. It looks beautiful, as you sort of would expect. Yeah, it looks very similar though in regards to, like, on the section that I see, they made it sound like it was a bit different, but from what I can sort of tell, it looked very similar.
Okay.
But then the argument is I didn't play enough of it to sort of, I can't really sort of have an opinion on that, because maybe I didn't see what they're talking about. So, but yeah, it looks fun. So it's a potential one for me to pick up.
Yeah. I mean, the original tends to go on sale relatively frequently at this point. So, Yeah, I mean, Aaron, did you play the first one at all?
I didn't. This kind of inspires me to go and pick up the first one. I mean, I know about the first one, like, but I just didn't have time, like Gary said. Like, it's amongst. I also do this thing where I pretend like I'm a portable gamer. Really, I'm not. I really want to be one, but sometimes it's hard to, like when you've got your PC and your consoles around to actually pick up your Switch and do things with it. It's like, oh, I could, but I could go play my PS5. And it's not for any fault of the going, so.
Nah, sorry, I was just going to say, I'll be honest, I'm exactly the same. I convinced myself that I was a handheld gamer so I could pick up the Switch OLED, when in reality, I've probably played it like 10 times.
We just like shiny things, and like, it's really hard to deny picking up shiny things. Yeah. But I definitely should try and force myself to play this at some point. I'll probably do that before I even look at this second one, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like the first one, I don't think I've actually finished it, but it is one of my favourite games of the Switch so far. Like, it's just... It's kind of XCOM for beginners. Like, you don't have the ridiculous percentages you get with XCOM. Like, you've got 3 options. You either hit something, you miss something, or you have a 50% chance. Like, there's no... you have a 12% window and then they pull off a critical shot or whatever. But it's kind of introduces that strategy quite well throughout the game. And I think it's one of my favorite games, the original. So I am really looking forward to this, and it will probably be the first time that I pick my Switch up in quite a while. Because like you, Gary, I tried to convince myself that I needed a Switch OLED, and I couldn't be more proud of myself over the past couple of months, because I have not bought a Switch OLED and I have not bought a Steam Deck, even though I've had the opportunity to do both.
Oh, I'm so tempted by that Steam Deck. God damn it. But no, we must control ourselves.
Absolutely. I mean, to be fair, I did have a pre-order in, which initially was on behalf of Mr. Clark. And then Gary said he didn't want it, so I kept the pre-order, and I gave it to Andy. And then Andy got it, and I was like, "Oh, that is quite shiny. Oh, that is very shiny." But haven't. I didn't steal it off him. But it is quite cool. But again, like you say, I've got a PC upstairs that is hooked up to a 48-inch OLED TV, so I know that if I want to play stuff on there, then I can do, and it will look infinitely better than it will on a Steam Deck. The only benefit is I could potentially play the Steam Deck while the missus watches TV downstairs. And that was Mario Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, coming in October. One that I thought was just... I mean, I was amazed that this hadn't happened before, to be honest. The Portal games have come to Switch in a collection, and in a quite frankly brilliant and unexpected move, they're only £13 for the 2 of them on the Switch, which, some people might say, oh, but they're so old. And like, yes, they are, but they're both excellent games. And if you haven't played Portal 2 and you have a Switch, you just owe it to yourself to play it, because it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Are you going to be picking these up, Gary?
To be honest, I loved Portal 2, but I don't think I'm going to be picking them up again. I've sort of past it now. I don't think... I don't know. I say I won't, but then if the reviews come out and say the Switch version is amazing, obviously it's running at 60 frames per second, which is obviously good. The trouble with a Switch, because let's be honest, it's quite underpowered. It's very sort of hit and miss whether a game is going to be amazing on it or it's going to be a bit hit and miss. One good thing though about this, at least it's not the cloud version like they did with Guardians of the Galaxy, because that was an absolute shit show. So yeah, potentially it's £14 or £13.50. It's cheap. But I'm not sure if I'm really that desperate to go back and play it on a Switch just because it's in handheld. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and I'm presuming, Aaron, you may well be in the same boat.
Yeah, I'm going to second Gary's thoughts. I completely destroyed every part of both of those games when they came out. I don't. They're kind of one-time experiences. Like it's not quite the same when you go back through it. So I don't think I'll pick this up. However, I don't think I'll disagree with Gary on the performance thing. I don't think it will have because it's Source 2, isn't it? Like it'd be very hard to not have that perform, even on a Switch. You'd have to fuck that up royally to not have that perform at 60 frames a second. So
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm really tempted because I haven't played Portal 2 in a long time, and like, yes, again, I have it on PC, but there is something to be said about having it on a Switch that you can just kind of pick up, throw in your bag, and like play Portal on the train. So maybe I'll have to see.
You don't go on the train.
Okay, we went to London on the train.
That's true.
Like, yeah, I love Portal 2. I love the original. It's just they are fantastic games. So yeah, I think I might dip my hand in for this one. I think that'll be about the third or fourth time I bought each one. But totally worth it. Great games. And it's for £13, I can probably live if I get that and don't play them. But after the announcement that they're coming to Game Pass, it was also announced that Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal are coming to the Switch as well, which seems like an ideal home, particularly for Persona 4 Golden, because I remember everybody raved about that on the Vita, I believe, or was it PSP?
Yep, that's where I played. But I did haul the crap out of that interview, and that was because I didn't play Persona 3, so that was my introduction to Persona. I was like, oh, this game is amazing, but it's very niche and it's very Japanese. So if you're not about that, just ignore me. But if you are, this is the title to play. It's very slice of life mixed with RPG elements, and everybody should play it if you're interested in that kind of thing. And Persona 5 is just a better version. Some might disagree with me on that, but I think it's just a better version. So go get it. Go support it.
There we go. So they'll be coming. I think was it Persona 5 is coming in October, and Persona 3 and Persona 4 won't be coming until next year. So, if you want to play them on the Switch, then there you go. Again, perfect platforms for it. But I think we said that last podcast was said. Obviously, that is also coming to Game Pass. So, I have never played a Persona game. Sorry. Nope. I may look at Persona 4, because if that comes to Game Pass, like it's included in my subscription, I may as well play it.
Yeah.
Are you thinking the same with that, Gary?
Absolutely. You basically said what I was just about to say. Because it's weird with Persona, because it's never been my sort of genre of game I sort of want to dive into, but so many people have said how amazing they are, and it's enticing me to try it. So
that's why I prefaced it, because it is very niche and they are amazing games. But if you're not into that, like it's very slow paced, slice of life. Like it's basically living out school life with an actual JRPG element on top of it. If you're not into that kind of thing, or you don't watch that type of anime and kind of stuff, you probably won't enjoy it as much as the people who are raving about it. But if you are into that, it's one of the best games out there.
Yeah. Okay. I think the time frame of how they're doing this is the same on Xbox, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I think it sounds like there's been a very long exclusivity window on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
So there you go. Persona coming to the Switch, and I think that was pretty much it for the Direct, wasn't it? There wasn't a huge amount outside of that. Nier Automata is also coming to the Switch, which again, that game has had many releases, and people should probably play it if they haven't yet played it. I haven't yet finished it because there are a lot of endings, and I've not even seen one of them. So Yeah, probably should at some point. But yeah. So next story, start to wrap up a little bit because we've got a few things to talk about. But again, been quite a quiet week. Quiet couple of weeks. In the void left from Summer Game Fest, Microsoft has admitted that there's a bit of a shortage of Xbox controllers at the moment. So if you want one, just try and find one for RRP, because I think it said the story on VGC at the moment, which said that Amazon is one of the few retailers with stock of the Black controller. Third-party prices for the Black controller start at £94.
Okay, now.
Which, yeah, I mean, if you want to come and buy a Carbon Black controller from me for £94, then by all means,
By all means, yeah.
It's weird they've come out and admitted this just now. I feel like I checked for this maybe 3 months ago, because I wanted something better than my current original Xbox One pad to play Game Pass games. And I remember it being a bit of a shit show on Amazon. That's the only place I really looked at back then. So this has been going on for a little bit. It's not just a recent thing, right?
Oh wow! I mean, to be fair, I haven't felt the need to buy an Xbox controller for a while, because, I mean, there may be a shortage, and looking at the amount I have, it may be my fault. I
think I know the reason why they're running out of controllers, because they release a new color variant or design variant every week.
Yeah,
they just run out of plastic. They just can't make enough bits of molds, and that's crazy. Right? Yeah, obviously this happens normally when a console launches, like PS5. It happened with PS4 when accessories are very sort of sparse. But yeah, there must be someone just buying a shit ton of controllers across Europe that stopped many retailers from having stock of them. It just seems a bit odd. But again, it's probably something to do with the whole shortage of parts across the world and all of that sort of
possibly
tooling. And so I mean, if you can find one at RRP, you're a lucky person by the sounds of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it does say in the report that the design lab still looks to be taking orders if you want to completely customize one. So whether they have the parts there, I don't know, because obviously that's going to be its own thing. But there is a slight part of me that thinks, this happened not long after not long after FIFA came onto Game Pass. So is it just that people are throwing their controllers in anger and breaking them and needing to replace them?
I think Game
Pass might be a part of it. I think people are trying to find pads to plug into their and play their Game Pass games. It might actually be a thing.
Victims of their own success. There we go. Yeah. The last thing really that we're going to mention this week before disappearing. So it is a little bit of a shorter podcast this week. Skull and Bones. Remember that? Skull and Bones. Looks like it's finally getting a release date. It seems here that I'm going to butcher this name, but Aggiornamenti Lumia, apparently, who regularly reports on listings that are added to the Xbox and Windows stores before they're made public, has also claimed that the game will be released on November the 8th of this year. This is on a VGC article. So, yeah, apparently they look like they're going to be re-unveiling the game next week, which is a bit mad considering, I think I was saying to Gary just before we started recording, this game I think got unveiled at around the same time as Sea of Thieves, and that took a while to come to launch, and now that is considered an old game. So this is a thing. I mean, Aaron, have you got any particular fondness for Sea of Thieves? I've just done it myself. For Skull and Bones, and that reveal.
My problem is this is Ubisoft, and I've become a hater of this company over the years. They started off so well and innovating, and then have just, I feel like they're part responsible for the state of AAA games, and where we have so much crossover of so many elements that everything starts to feel the same. So I kind of start resenting them for it. So unless you're going to show me that this is different from every other Ubisoft game you make, I'm going to be like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, yeah, strong words, and I think I don't think anybody would begrudge them. Excuse me. Yeah, I think it just seems like this game's been in limbo forever, and it's almost like if anyone's a fan of like Guns N' Roses, this seems like the Chinese democracy of video games. Gary, are you intrigued to see what this looks like?
Yeah. I don't know.
He doesn't sound too convinced.
I remember when we first originally see this, we was at E3. It's that long ago. I can't even remember what E3 it was that this was shown at.
2018, apparently.
Was it really?
Apparently.
Maybe we wasn't at E3 then. Either way. Yeah, so it looked really good, but it's clearly been in development hell because it's been like directors have been changed and teams been switched out, and they didn't really know what they was doing with it. I think it originally was meant to be a multiplayer game with single player elements, and now it's sort of gone back to more single player with multiplayer. So yeah, I'm sort of interested, but at the same time, it's been so long and so many switches of development cycles and whatnot that I'm not confident that it's going to be a success. And a bit like Aaron, it's Ubisoft, so it's a bit like, will it be? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I want to hope that that they will have learned lessons from things like Ghost Recon Wildlands, which came out and they've now stopped stuff for. If it is that kind of multiplayer themed or multiplayer centric game, then maybe kind of not force it to have a tail, but at least support the game and have a decent plan from day one. Because I think that's been the problem with a lot of their games recently. I know obviously Siege is a big exception to the rule because Siege is just an unstoppable beast at this point by the looks of it.
Funnily enough, it's one of their only games that they picked it, and somehow it's a success. Maybe they should learn from that a bit,
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like they've had this, they've just had this bolt of lightning with Siege, where like it came out and it was like it just caught fire, and it slowly but surely just picked up more and more players to at the point now where it's one of the biggest games in the world, but like a lot of people wouldn't think it. But then on the other hand, you have the Division 2, which like yes, some people will still play, but it's not got the legs that they thought it would have. And then you've got like I said, Ghost Recon, which is now shut down. And I'm sure there was another one. What was the other one? I can't remember. But like, they tend to just let these games die on the vine. And I just think with something like Skull and Bones, they can't let that happen because of just how long this game's been in development. So it'll be really interesting to see just how much they put behind this game and how much faith they have in it. Like I think they need to have faith and just really throw it all behind this game and kind of don't nickel and dime everybody. Don't fill it so full of microtransactions that it turns people away. Just like be sensible with things, and I don't know, maybe even do what they did with Rainbow Six Extraction and put it like Game Pass day one. Like that would be great if it does have a multiplayer element. Games will live and die by the multiplayer side of things. If it's there, put it out to a massive audience on Game Pass day one, and hell, maybe even put it on PS Plus as well. Kind of everybody that wants to play this game will be able to play the game, and then at that point you can probably start monetizing things. But I don't make decisions for big companies, thankfully. I'm just, I'm just an idiot with a microphone. So, yeah, intriguing stuff. Hopefully we'll see Skull and Bones soon. But just before we disappear, I think there is a brand new bit of news which has just been updated today, with probably about half an hour before we started recording. The first image of a PSVR2 headset outside of a promotional setting has seemingly been shared by an indie developer. There's the PSVR2 headset has indeed been shown off. It's there with its controllers. It's sat on what looks like a leather cinema seat. But yeah, from the looks of it, you've got potentially earphones in there, and then you've got like the two controllers. It's all white and black, which is obviously the color scheme that's been leaked. Has a dial on the top, presumably that's for focal length and stuff like that, and a single cable, which I think was sort of known for a while. So are we? Do you think we might be getting closer to PSVR2's? Well, obviously we're getting close to PSVR2's launch. That's how time works, Ben. But do you think we might be seeing a launch date soon?
Potentially. That made me laugh. I think regarding release date, it's got to be coming at some point very soon, because if they're sort of targeting that Christmas, they haven't officially announced it, but if they're targeting, let's say, a Christmas release, then it's coming around quick. It's already like nearly July, so I still don't think it's coming out this year. I think spring 2023, but people seem to be saying the end of this year, but we'll see. But yeah, I think soon would be a good idea for a release date of some sort, or at least some sort of new sort of teaser trailer with it as well.
Yeah, because it's gone a bit quiet, hasn't it? And I wonder if they do put it out. I think there needs to be some sort of back compat for, PSVR original titles. But again, that's probably another one for a podcast when we do get to that. We do get to the unveiling and the launch date reveal. But until then, I think we're about good for another episode of the Next Gen Basecast. If you've enjoyed it, get yourself subscribed on the YouTube, get yourself subscribed on your podcast services, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. All right, guys, take care.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.